Good morning, everybody. This is Grand Admiral Ando Starsaber. I'm here to talk a little bit about our newest Galactic challenge, which is the Galactic Republic. Now, specifically, when you go into it, it requires several things. First of all, it's very Empire focused. So, its first global ability is Power Struggle. This is something that makes us very quick. Since your leader is Padme, all you have to do is take out Padme. Now, not surprisingly, on Tier 7, she is extremely tanky and she is hid behind a wall of Kenobi. And she also has General Anakin, who can come to her assistance rather quickly and her turn meter will jump up. She has basically the equivalent of the Zeta on her character. So you don't want to take it lightly. It sounds like, yeah, just kill Padme, it's good. Well, in some cases it is, but you got to be very careful how you approach it. Now, Imperial Edict. If there is an Empire ally in the ally slot, they gain 30% max health and max protection. Kind of nice. And when an Empire ally in the leader slot uses special ability, all allies increase the damage they deal by 10% until the end of the encounter. That is kind of handy. And then all Empire allies are called to assist. If no summon is present at the start of the encounter, summon a Snowtrooper operative if the slot is available. Pretty handy there, especially the Snowtrooper operative. If it's not there, it's very handy because it has a nice little stun on its basic. The idea is basically to be control this fight. Now, the all Empire allies called to assist, that's not so handy because a Padme team, for those who are not aware, automatically spark protection up every time an assist is made against a one of the players. So you can hit it the once, but then the other ones will add protection up. And when a character has protection up, it also makes them debuff immune. So that's actually more of a hindrance than a help. So you want to be judicious in its use. You want to use it at the right time. It's more about controlling the fight. You control the fight with debuffs, and having that assist will actually make the fight a little bit harder, even though it'll increase your damage overall. If you're making the target debuff immune, that does not help you. And steadfast retribution. Whenever a Galactic Republic ally takes damage from an enemy, they reflect 100% of that damage back at the enemy. The damage ability is increased for each time this ally is dealt damage this way. Very big thing. You'll find in this lineup you will run Vader. Vader, of course, merciless massacre, saber throw. He does a lot of damage. You'll sit here at about one health for most of the battle, or very low health on your Vader. It's just the nature of the way it works. It won't kill him. An enemy attack will kill him, but if you control the battle space enough, this fight should not be too difficult for you. So now the lineup I run. So first of all, the first feat requires you an all-Empire lineup. Now, for those who aren't aware, Emperor Palpatine with Vader, Thrawn, Imperial Probe Droid, and Short Trooper can be a Padme team wrecker. This is Grand Arena. This is wherever you use it. This is Territory Wars. This is a very good lineup for taking out a Padme team. Because what you have is you have Emperor Palpatine's basically adds turn meter when debuffs are inflicted and when they're dispelled. That's something that will keep all the Empire members turn trained at the top the whole time. You have Vader, that's pretty self-explanatory. Thrawn, pretty self-explanatory, and you have Fracture. Imperial Probe Droid with the Zeta. If you have the Zeta, this is key here because the target locks will basically serve as another buff immunity, much like Emperor Palpatine's Shock, and Short Trooper for the auto taunt at the beginning of the battle. These are all key components here. When you go into the battle, one thing you want to make sure is that Padme uses her kick move and calls everybody assist against Short Trooper. If your Short Trooper is built out enough, it will not kill it, but it'll stun it. But what will happen is if she doesn't use it, instead she uses a basic, that will cause protection up on all the Galactic Republic allies. That means you won't be able to land your debuffs. No point in continuing there. So then you go into the battle. Start the battle. See what she does. She started with her kick. That's good. So that's a good startup. Now, the next thing I usually do here, a lot of people don't realize if you do the Force Crush with a Palpatine lineup, that's basically a free turn because all those debuffs that land on the target. So then you can go into the Merciless Massacre and get 5 extra turns, 1 for each Merciless Massacre. And you can try to land as many ability blocks as you can. But high priorities here, Padme, Jedi Knight Anakin, and General Kenobi. If you can get them, it's not a big deal. But Padme and Anakin, those are kind of huge. But the more you can land, anytime a Galactic Republic uses a special ability, Ahsoka will always assist. So that's a pain too. You want to try to steer clear of that. Now you can get another free turn after the Merciless Massacre with the Force Crush. Get some more debuffs out there. And get Vader basically another free turn by dispelling with the Saber Throw. Now you can see he's very low health at this point. This could be a problem. We'll see. Use the Imperial Probe Droid to clear all these debuffs and land the target lock on Kenobi. That can be a huge benefit. That will give you a chance to fracture Padme and control the battle space very much more. Most of the time here, with this extra ally you have, first thing I tend to do is typically try for the stun. It doesn't always land, but you want to try for it as much as you can. Now, if you do use the power of the dark side, it'll call everyone to assist. It'll give Kenobi some protection up if he doesn't have the target lock. In this case, he does. I think I might give it to him anyway, but I'm still going to try for it to get the turn meter up there. And we did. Because now Kenobi's still stunned. He's not going to be doing as much at this point. But we're going to keep on working down his protection while this is so he doesn't get the... Okay, we lost Vader. That's one good sign to bail out. It can be tricky here because there can be little wonky things like, in this case, the ability block didn't land. That was one thing that caused this to fail. But you can just back out, come back in, and proceed the same way. And work your way around again. Toss another Force Crush for a free turn. Saber Throw for almost a free turn. A lot of turn meter. Do a nice little... Okay, this time he didn't target lock, so that's something to be aware of. You can try to make up for it with a shock. It did. That will help the battle immensely. Then you can keep proceeding around. Got an ability block on Jedi Anakin that will be helpful for future developments. Go to Kenobi, try for an ability block. Nope, lost it. Vader's out. Did not control the battle space enough. There is definitely some RNG wonkiness to this battle. Like, for instance, she did the basic attack there. If she does it multiple times in a row, you can just unset your characters and reset to... Yep, she seems to be going for the basics at this point. So what you do is you back out, you take out 2 of your members to put them right back in there, and that should reset the... some of the time it'll reset the auto. You can also switch the 2. So instead of Vader Thrawn, you can go Thrawn Vader. Just to make sure she does the kick. In this case, she did not. Try for it again, see if she kicks. There she went. So that's what you want her to do. Go ahead and start with your normal rotation. Force Crush, Merciless Massacre, ability blocks around the team if you can get it. Back to Kenobi, Force Crush, and Saber Throw. Lots of damage on Vader. Target locks. Clear the debuffs. Do on the Fracture. Get the stuns where possible. In this case, it did not, but that's okay. When you got the point where you're not going to start having Obi-Wan do auto taunts there, you can start working on Anakin. He's your biggest threat on this team, bar none. So you want to make sure whenever you do things, you're always making sure that you're planning to get him out of the equation as quickly and as safely as possible. Do a Force Crush, go after Ahsoka, go after Padme, go after Mace Windu, kill Jedi Anakin. That makes things a lot more safe for the rest of the battle. So now it's just continuing around to whittle down that team. Do a shot on Mace, try to stun Ahsoka. Didn't work. Try to stun Ahsoka again with the one that will work. With Thrawn, good to go. Now you can keep working on Mace Windu. Do another shock on Kenobi just to reapply. He cleared it, but that's okay. Because we're going to go right into a merciless massacre. And start working around that team again. Now, get rid of Kenobi so that's no longer a factor. Do a nice little target lock to clear those buffs off. Try to get rid of Ahsoka. Start working on Mace Windu. Because once you're down to just Padme, there's really not much to be afraid of at this point, even though the idea is to kill her. In this case, it's really just taking out all of her damage dealers and keeping control of the battle space. As you can see, we're starting to really ramp up on the damage we're doing here, and she can't go after Vader because we're hidden behind that short trooper taunt now. And you can just keep working on Padme, clear the buffs with the extra dude, clear the buffs again with the Imperial probe droid. Work your way around, toss turn to Vader, throw on some more debuffs, keep working on it, throw up a fracture, keep whittling her down. As long as you control the battle space, she's not going to get to do much. And then you can just finish her off. I would not recommend the probe droid's self-destructibility because in the level scale of damage you're doing, it's really not enough to significantly offset there. So you can see there's RNG that factors into the mix, no question. You just have to kind of deal with it and work around it. The next thing you need to do is after you complete the battle with the Empire units, you need to do it with an undersized squad. For this, what was recommended, and I recommend if you're not packing any Galactic Legends, is a trail lead. So you run trail lead, you'll put Nihilus in there, because all you need to do is get that Annihilate on the boss. You then control the battle again with your good old favorite Thrawn, and then all you need at this point is your strongest auto-taunting tank. In my case, that happens to be Kylo Ren unmasked, but you can use whatever suits your fancy. So if you got a Sith Trooper or a Shore Trooper that's higher, you can go ahead and use that too. So first of all, once you get that, you can throw a turn over to Traya. You can isolate Padme. And once you get Thrawn's fracture up, you can fracture Kenobi. So now you're controlling some of the battle here. Get to Kylo Ren. Since I'm using Kylo Ren, you can stun. Accelerate cooldowns to... Whoops. And you can lose Nihilus. If you have them at a higher speed or higher gear rating, this gets easier. But all you really got to do is control this battle space and hope the RNG works in your favor. Okay, in this case, we don't have any... we have the stun up, so we're going to go ahead and proceed as usual. Going to add some protection to Kylo Ren. Fracture on Kenobi. hopefully, now if you get a situation like this where there's not a lot of debuffs, you might just consider stripping some buffs there. That will, but unfortunately we lost. We did lose our Nihilus again. He will be a target of high priority for Ahsoka. So you just got to kind of work your way around it and hope the RNG plays in your favor. So, again, throw this, isolate to Padme. Fracture to Ahsoka. Now you can go ahead and suck some turns away because you got some cooldown reduction. Okay, get the stun on Anakin if you got that up. Cool down your Nihilus a little bit, strip some cooldowns. Now, when you got Nihilus Annihilate cranked up, just focus on Kenobi so you don't make him auto taunt. Then you annihilate Padme. Battle over. Simple as that. That's the free-to-play victory. I use my fleeting leader Kylo Ren to get this originally because that's easier. But as you can see, this is a more free-to-play way to do it. Now, if you don't have Beskar Mando, the last thing's impossible. I'll show you how I did mine, just to show you how it is possible. Now, it worked for me, and it took a couple of tries in there, but I used my core First Order team because the Kylo Ren Unmasked will keep the enemies off of Mando for the most part, might not absolve the AoEs. But when you go in with Kylo Ren Unmasked, you can stun Jedi Anakin, then you can stun Kenobi. They'll focus Kylo Ren Unmasked for a bit. You can use your AoE to suck a little mastery out. Get a little bit there. Fire up your Whistling Bird ability. They're still beating on Kylo Ren Unmasked. Try to ramp up Supreme Leader Kylo. Fortunately, they're still beating on Kylo Ren Unmasked. And all this time, they were cranking up your Whistling Bird, and you can work up your other abilities while you're at it. Toss the Whistling Bird over to Jedi Anakin. Now, he's not very powerful at this point, so he didn't kill him, but that's okay. I'm just going to stay in the battle a little bit longer. Go ahead and we'll crank up the mastery one more turn, and then we'll throw on the ultimate. Okay, once you throw on the ultimate, that's pretty much a game, set, match at this point. Do a little bit more damage to Mando. He's gone, but that's okay at this point because you're just going to finish the battle with your Kylo Ren Unmasked in his ultimate stance. Done. So that's the victory. That's how I got the score. It was almost as much luck as anything else, but that's how I got all the feats of this battle. So it's nice to run away with the max roller as you can. If you don't have Beskar Mando, you're not going to get that one. I mean, mine for gearing purposes is not super geared. It's gear 11, almost gear 12. Trying to work that because that'll make this feat much easier. His damage output is not super high, but the Whistling Birds can be a huge factor in that. So that's really how this battle plays out. All you have to do is again control the battle. Know what how General Kenobi and General Anakin and Ahsoka are going to affect the fight. Mace Windu do it to an extent because he does do a buff dispel, but most part it's those things. And other than that, it's just controlling things and either getting out Padme as quickly as possible for the four-man, or in the rest of the case, just controlling all her supporting cast because that's where the real threat's from. So, if you have any questions, please ask in game chat or Discord. I'll try to address them. This is Grand Admiral Andal Starsaber. May the Force be with you. Signing off.